Oh, we're close. If I could have the camera, please. There we go. Call the meeting of the Lincoln Park Mayor and Council of October 7th, 2019 to order. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, which will be immediately followed by the invocation by Reverend Bill Clark of the New Testament Tabernacle. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's bow our hearts in prayer, shall we? Our dear gracious and loving Heavenly Father, we come into your presence with thanksgiving and praise this evening, and thanking you, God, for all your many blessings that you've bestowed upon us. We want to, before we go any further, we want to remember those that are having health issues this evening. Former Councilman Tom Murphy, our fire chief's father, Ted Martin, and friend of the city, Mike Horvath, Father, each one. We pray, Father, that your healing touch would be upon them. Father, we ask your blessing upon this meeting this evening. I thank you for all those that serve us, the citizens of Lincoln Park. I thank you for our mayor and our city council, all those that serve us and help us. And we pray, Father, that your blessing be upon each one and the families that they represent as well. And Father, I pray your blessing upon this meeting. May everything be done decently in order and according to your perfect will. And we'll be careful to give you all the praise and thanks. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. All right, if we could have roll call, please.
Councilpersons Breeding. Present. Higgins.
Present.
Kelsey.
Here.
Parkinson.
Here.
Ross. Here. Salcido.
Here.
And Mayor Carnes.
Here. Well, good evening, everyone. We've had a series of meetings already leading up to here, so I know that this is, so we've been here since 5:15. Doesn't seem that long, but it is what it is. We said farewell to our city manager, Matt Koppler. He is at this point having his first meeting in St. Clair Shores as city manager. We have interim city manager John Zeck, but Mr. Zeck had a family vacation already planned at the time that we hired him, so he is having a good time right now. But we have our not assistant city manager, but sort of a co-city manager, I would say. Lisa Griggs is with us today, and so we're in good hands. Government HR, GovHR, who we've hired to do the search for us, the talent search, is hard at work with that. They did have a small, well, not a setback. I call him a young man, he's younger than me, that was doing the interviews with everyone, suffered a great tragedy in that both of his parents were killed in a car crash last week. So he tells us that he's still going to be doing things in a timely basis, but give it a little ways. But he's a good young man. But as we were doing our prayers, and keep him and his family in your prayers also. Had a great event at the middle school just the other day, and what day was that? I think it was Thursday. Thursday that we were all, a lot of us were in attendance, and it has to do with the Don't Quit Gymnasium that was put in place there. They applied for and received a $100,000 grant. It was due to their video that the middle school put out. It was a great thing. The governor was not able to attend that meeting, but she will be coming back. But it was a great presentation, and watching those kids work out on those things and going back and forth through that, it's going to be very good. It's the most excited of any crowd that I've seen in years. And the people from the Don't Quit organization said that and they had done 4 states already in the past 10 days, said that by and large, the Lincoln Park Middle School was the most appreciative, loudest, and enjoyed it. But, so, that's a good thing going for us. Recycling will be coming. It is, you will be getting your containers probably within a week or so. They're going to be blue. You will have notices. We're starting to do education about what is and what is not recyclable, and looking to start the recycling on the week of 10/21, so the Monday in just a couple weeks. So that is a good thing. Just had the zombie apocalypse on Saturday. Well attended, some great music. There was some a little bit of storytelling and a campfire going on. A lot of things for sale. I think it was a positive event for the city. Also, last week, St. Michael's at the Feast of All Saints. St. Michael's on Champaign Street dedicated their elevator to Stephen Miller, and had a little celebration in the basement after that. Very well done, and if you want to get a lift, I guess you just have to go stop in over there. Let's see what we got. Another event that we went to, which was just last week, it's the building that I used to think of it as Robert Jones, the Knights of Columbus, and the hall and their lounge and things that they had there. It's now called the Lincoln Manor, and it's an event center. They had an open house and a sampling of their food, and it was actually it was beautiful for going in there, and I look forward to what they have. And we have a representative from the Lincoln Manor here. I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to mess up your name. If you'd come up to the podium, and that was Galud, or
Yeah, it's pretty hard to pronounce. It's Mukhtar.
Mukhtar. I'm sorry. Okay, I got it now.
Thank you, sir. Well, my name is Mukhtar Shahati. I'm representing from the Lincoln Manor. We had, as Honorable Mayor indicated, we purchased the Knight of Columbus, a banquet hall, and I think everyone knows the Knight of Columbus. So we continue the heritage. We remain majority of what Knight of Columbus have, especially on the heritage room, and we remodeled a little bit from the lounge to. I know some of you guys want to the room say, "I was here. I know. I danced in that dance floor. I'm familiar." And so you guys had a great time there, and we will continue that heritage as well. The Knight of Columbus, we purchased the Knight of Columbus back in October 2017, and since then we've been going through a lot of renovation, remodeling. We did a lot of facelifting on the outside and invested a lot in renovating where used to be a lot of offices. Now it's actually 3 ballrooms, one of state-of-the-art, hooked up with nice technology in it. With our grand opening last Sunday was an opportunity to see the mayor, the councilman, councilwoman. Really appreciated all of you guys being there and supportive to us and also to our community who came to participate. I just want to be here today to give my thanks on behalf of my partners and I. Thank you very much.
No, and thank you. Actually, it was very well done.
Sure, thank you.
Very well done.
And the food was excellent.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Now, on September 25th, we got notice from the Small Business Association that the Small Business Association is going to be offering or has offered disaster assistance to business and residents of Michigan affected by severe storms and flooding in Wayne and surrounding communities. It has to do with the flooding and rain from April 30th through May 1st. These are loans to that low interest that residents can apply for if they had losses. Let's see. Loans of up to $200,000 are available to homeowners to repair or replace damaged or destroyed real estate. Homeowners and renters are eligible for loans up to $40,000 to repair or replace damaged or destroyed personal property. And applicants may be eligible for a loan amount increase up to 20% of their physical damages as verified by the SBA. Now, this has been on our website since that time, but it has a small window still to apply. And you have, it's only tomorrow, actually, that it closes out tomorrow, and it's Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and that is at the JFK Junior Library, which is 24602 Van Born Road in Dearborn Heights. And then there's another that is on, maybe closer for us is the Albert Du Bois Civic Center, which is 3869 West Jefferson in Ecorse. Again, and that is to apply for these loans. All right, a little while ago, we made a request for Detroit Edison, DTE to, showing my age here, for DTE to come in and to speak with us. So the council had some questions and some concerns. So we have to be careful, though, that we don't talk about individual properties, just overall or general view about how things are done. Would that be fair? And we have Jennifer Whitaker, and I have your card for exact title, which is the Regional Manager for CGA Regional Relations for Wayne County. So Jennifer?
Good evening. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, City Council. I was hired by Detroit Edison, so I'm showing my age, too. As the mayor said, my name is Jennifer Whitaker. I'm a regional manager for our Government Affairs Department in DTE Energy. My region includes all of eastern Wayne County, east of I-75, so I go from Grosse Pointe Shores all the way down to Rockwood. And of course, the entire downriver area is part of my territory. When Matt Koppler first asked me to come to talk to you, he asked about the tree trim program and specifically, and so that's the presentation I sent over to the city, and I hope that you have copies of it, and if you don't, I will send them to you. I will try my best to describe the program without the presentation in front of you. Most everyone realizes that trees are a great cause of our outages, and in fact, they cause 1/2 of our customer outages and 1/3 of our customer outage events. And in particular, they pose a danger to public safety. Falling trees or falling limbs can bring down wires, and of course, wires down is a great public safety issue, and just falling trees and branches in general. And so what we try to do is, we don't go out and trim willy-nilly. We do have a plan behind it. When we do go out and trim, there's 2 ways that we can trim, either with a bucket truck, which is faster, but we do need access, right? So the truck has to be able to get back there. And in some of these communities, yours, mine, the poles are in the back, and so we can't get the truck back there. And so then we have climbers who go in and trim, and they're qualified, they're certified. It's pretty technical, and it's a slow go. Nationally, there is a shortage of tree trimmers, qualified tree trimmers. We have gone state to state to find tree trimmers. We've even gone to Puerto Rico to find tree trimmers. We do now have a program at Jackson Prison where returning citizens who are near the end of their sentence there are learning how to trim trees so that when they return to their homes, they have a viable skill that they can go out and get a job and return to society making money for themselves and their families. So like I said, we have a process for deciding how to trim trees, where to trim the trees actually. We take a look at each circuit, and then we look at how it's performed, whether it has had wire downs, when we last trimmed it. And then we take all that data, and then we look at all the circuits and decide where do we need to go first. And then once we decide that, we take the costs and then try to put each of those circuits or those substation areas on a 5-year trim schedule. So that's what we're attempting to do for our entire service territory, which goes from the tip of the thumb out west to, I think Williamston is our last town in Ingham County. Once we decide which circuits to go and trim, I contact the city where we're going to trim and say, we'll be out there this year, or whatever year we planned it for. And then about 8 to 12 weeks before we come out and trim, we send emails or phone calls to our customers to let them know, because eventually we will have our forestry planners out in the neighborhoods looking tree by tree, yard by yard, to see which trees are diseased, which we would recommend cutting down, where we need to trim. And so we don't want people to be surprised when you have workers in your backyard. And then 2 to 7 weeks before, we send out another communication to customers. We put door hangers on, let them know how to get a hold of us. The supervisor's phone number is on there, and perhaps there's a tree that needs to come down. We'll have those face-to-face communications between the field supervisor and the resident to talk those issues through. And then, of course, we go out and we do the trimming, and then after we're done doing the trimming, we'll close out. I'll let the city, I'll let John Kazoo know that we're done, we're all finished, and if there's any other outstanding issues, I'm sure folks will let us know. And so,
As you go through this, but the debris that is left behind from the tree trimming, what happens to that?
so when we go and trim, we trim to 10 feet outside of the furthest piece of equipment, or in most cases our conductors. Any limbs, large limbs or trees that we bring down, we cut to firewood size and we stack them and leave them on the property. In most cases, it's a resident's tree and it's the resident's property that we're cutting, so we leave it on the property. In cases of large storms, our first issue is safety and getting people back to power. So if they have to cut trees and tree limbs in order to get power restored, we generally leave the debris there. Because, we're cutting, we're restoring, we're moving to the next job.
Okay.
What we have found, though, is that 1 to 2 years after trimming, we see that the number of events, outage events that happen in a circuit area is reduced by 75%. 1 to 2 years after trimming, the duration of an outage is also reduced. That's by 71%. I will, again, like I said, I will send the presentation to you. On there is a map of when we expect to be in Lincoln Park to trim the trees. You have, serving Lincoln Park, 22 electric circuits coming out of 5 substations. And so we do it by substation area, and it doesn't match any borders. It doesn't match any municipal lines. It's just where those circuits go. But you will see the southern portion of Lincoln Park done next year, and then a vast majority of it done in 2021. And when I send the presentation to you, you'll have that map, and you can certainly, give me a call if you have any questions about that schedule. In the meantime, we have done a lot of work on the system itself. We've done a lot of inspection of our overhead equipment. We've done some pole top maintenance. We've replaced reclosers and fuses, all that help us to reduce outage times, durations. And then we replaced a few transformers at the end of last year, just to help make sure that the city is more reliable. I do understand that back in July, there was a period where a lot of customers in Lincoln Park were out for a couple of days. That was during our catastrophic storm. It started July 19th. I worked every day for the next 8 days. And I know some folks were out for a long, long time. That was the second worst storm we've ever experienced at the company. And I apologize. I apologize for our customers being out that long, and we worked as hard as we could. We brought in all these crews from out of state to restore people as fast as we could, as safely as we could. So that's pretty fast. I'm sorry you weren't able to see the presentation, but I can take any questions if you have them.
Okay. Questions?
Through the chair, I thank you for your answers to my questions that I sent to the city manager. Just a real quick question, and I think you answered part of it, but I'm still for safety reasons, they don't carry ID when they come out. And the reason I'm saying that, because the guy come out, because I had a problem, real nice, I'm not saying anything, but I mean, he came in a DTE truck and all that. And I was just, because we tell our residents, because of everything going on in society today, and you know where I'm going with this, that ask for, make sure somebody's not dressed up for, something that they're not, and the comment was what you meant, that they're having a lot of issues. So I'm just wondering, how do you, I guess what I'm trying to say is that then they really don't carry or ID badges per se anymore, right?
So they should show you their company ID. If you ask for them, they should show it to you. I will tell you, there are some IDs that do not have a last name, and that's for safety reasons.
And I understand that, but I ask them all that, but I already got the answer, but that's not what happened, but that's neither here
No,
nor there.
I totally agree with you. And I live in a community where there are a lot of senior citizens, and my mom lives alone, and it's the same thing. You don't let anybody on your property until they get badged.
And you answered the question about the limbs being cut up and all that and left in the thing, and the number, I haven't tried it, but the number, so they can get a hold, so I don't have to call as a representative. That's what I wanted, so they can do this stuff and interact with you. It's a lot easier. I guess what I'm saying is that when we have major outages, if we go through the city manager, can we find out what the outage actually was? If it was a tree or a transformer, or is that, I
Yeah,
know you
if
don't
you
put
have-
that out per se, but I mean, if we have something and we get like 2/3 of the city is out, but the other third is working fine, we're kind of wondering what's going on.
Yeah, I'll work with the city manager, and that if you could provide, because there are so many circuits that serve the city, if you can give me an address, that helps me pinpoint exactly the right circuit so I can get you the right answer.
Sounds good. Thank you, and thank you for the answers.
You're welcome, sir.
Anything else?
Yeah,
Yes,
if I
go
could.
ahead. Sure.
Just a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So when we had the storm, would you say that most of that was because of the winds and the tree limbs? or-
Absolutely. And it was, for us, it was a 1-2 punch. So we had a small storm come in on the 19th and then another one come in on the 20th. And it was, and weekends in the summer, people are taking vacations and it's really hard to resource it on the weekends. And so I think part of the reason why it was so difficult and challenging was we had to play off the actual damage that was done by the storm, plus get the resources in to take care of that damage.
So in looking at what happened, are we looking at any upgrades? Or it was just,
They repaired what was broken on the system for that storm. And, they put up new wire, put up new fuses, whatever that needed to be repaired at that time. So for those portions that were damaged for that storm, it's all repaired and new. For as far as system upgrades, we're systematically going through our entire service territory and upgrading where it needs to be upgraded. But much like tree trim, it's got to be a planned process because we just don't have a few $1 billion in the back to put it out immediately. So I've heard it could take 5 to 7 years to get the whole system upgraded.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Number one, can you leave me your business card
Yes, sir.
when you're done?
Absolutely.
Number two, if there's you own the telephone poles, correct?
Not all of them, some of them.
The majority of them. You have cable wires, phone wires. That's the lowest wires on your.
Yes.
If there's a wire hanging off my pole, who do I contact to get that taken care of?
If it's a telecommunication wire, it would have to be one of those companies.
So if all of them say, not our wire, then what do I do?
You can certainly call me and we can try to investigate and figure out which wire it is, but it doesn't belong to us. They just hang on our
They lease
poles.
off your poles,
Yeah.
so correct?
So we might be able to figure out who it is if you don't have luck with your particular telecommunication company that you deal with. I might be able to find out who it is.
Would there be a way of you providing the folks that do lease from you on there, say, contact information for that? I don't know if there's a general list of everybody that leases.
That leases, no, with as many telecommunication companies, that it depends on each community franchises telecommunication companies differently. So that's one of I would have to go back and investigate each individual case.
If you had somebody that is knowledgeable on that, or could recommend somebody that could come to make a presentation to us, for us citizens, on how to identify the various wires and what company it would be.
Okay.
That would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've had citizens on Facebook, so I'm afraid to go in my backyard because this wire might be electric. People don't know that the low wires aren't the electric wires.
Right.
And they're afraid to touch one. There was one picture, the backyard was all overgrown. So the person didn't want to go back to touch the wire and cut their grass.
Better safe than sorry.
Better safe, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we had, at one time, we took care of the franchises here, we had a cable commission, then the state took it over. Well, I guess now when you call the state about the cable commission, have fun.
I do know that the fire department is pretty cognizant of what wires are which on there, so
They do.
if it came down to an issue that we weren't sure, that we could call them.
I come home one day, and my yard was all taped off with the yellow tape, and the patrol watch was out there, the fire department was out there. It was cable wire, but they took care of everything. They had it all blocked off, and so even they didn't know for sure.
Through the chair?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Just for our residents of Lincoln Park, do you have the latest and greatest phone number if there's a power outage? What number do you call to get the best response?
The best response is still 800-477-4747. That is the best response. You can also report an outage through our app. There's a
DTE app?
yeah, phone app that you can report it through too. And you can report, I report my mom's, I report my brother's, I report everybody's on my app.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. There's no more welcome sight than a DT truck when you do not have power, though. I can say that. We
I
appreciate the
agree.
efforts that you guys do to keep us in power. So thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. It's not open for that right now, sir. We're now moving to the consent agenda.
Consent agenda.
Resolved that the following items listed on the consent agenda be approved as presented to the mayor and city council. 1, approve minutes, regular meeting held September 16, 2019. 2, approve minutes, special meeting held September 16, 2019 at 6:30 regarding interim city manager interview. 3, approve interagency agreement at the senior center. 4, approve interagency agreement community policing. 5, approve interagency agreement crime awareness. 6, approve interagency agreement code enforcement. 7, solicit bids, replace boiler band shell. 8, solicit bids, replace boiler retention basin.
I'll move, but I have a question.
I'll second it.
If I have a single question on one of these items, then I have to have it pulled and moved to the bottom?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, I would like to have number 7 removed and moved on to action item.
Okay, very good. Any further discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Breeding,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay, you'll remind me on that? All right, now we have a couple public hearings, I believe.
Yes.
I'm going to call the public hearing to order. Introduce the citizen, or the Community Development Block Grant and Parks and Recreation Director, Doreen Christian. Doreen?
Good evening. The purpose of this public hearing is to report on the CDBG activity for the fiscal year 2018-2019. All the activity is reported in depth in the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, which we call the CAPER, and it's located on the city website, at the city clerk's office, the library, the community center, and the Office of Community Planning and Development. And I just gave each one of you a copy of it because I just submitted it today. So the draft has been corrected to the best of my ability, and there was no public comment during the public comment period in the paper. The CDBG funding is allocated to the city by HUD. We in turn have a public hearing to gather funding requests from public service agencies and department heads. The Community Improvement Commission goes over all the requests and give their recommendation to mayor and council, who then vote on the use of funding, and on an annual action plan is developed and sent to HUD for approval. The annual action plan is the template on how the money is to be spent. During the 2018-19 program year, $799,693 was spent on eligible CDBG activities. This funding came from prior year unexpended funds, current funding, and revolving loan income received from the repayment of residential rehab loans. $57,891 was spent on public service activities. Of that amount, $43,100 subsidized nonprofit agencies and city programs. The city also used $14,791 for community policing and crime awareness programs from prior year funding. $69,908 from prior year funding was utilized for residential rehab loans. One home was completed, but 13 more projects are in various stages of being done. For each house that we have in some type of stage being repaired, they're allowed up to $20,000. So you got to figure if those 13,000, they're allowed $20,000 to do work. $433,077 was expended on streets and utility work. The sanitary sewer lining project was completed, and work on the Lafayette intersections of Paris, Monte, and College to replace the street and catch basins were done. The only thing we really have left to pay on them will be the retainage and whatever comes in on engineering fees from the inspections. $41,244 was spent on exterior blight contractor and code enforcement. The senior roof and brick facade were renovated using $109,812. Quant Park received a replacement playscape and mulch at a cost of $21,013. The city-owned house of 883 Monte, the renovation was completed with an additional cost of $57,890 out of last year's funding. And lastly, $125,096 was spent on administration and planning activities to operate the CDBG program through the Community Planning and Development Office. All the activities improved the availability, accessibility of housing and services for the low to low moderate income persons, improve the affordability of housing and services, or enhance the sustainability of our neighborhoods, which is one of the three they have to pick to be a CDBG eligible activity. And that explains how we spent it in a summary, because I know you guys have been here all night. Is there any questions? If you have any questions when you go through your reading, just let me know.
Okay, we open it for public comment also?
Public comment, whoops. The public comment period is over, but I'm more than welcome to take any type of information and forward it on to this. But that ended on Friday. It was advertised in the News Herald, was advertised on our website when we put the draft plan up.
Fine
Okay.
job.
Thank you, yes, it's a lot of. Very good job. A lot of work, I would imagine that. So we will adjourn the hearing at, what do we got, 8:06? Reconvene the regular meeting. All right, and Amy, are you going to assist with this?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Ah, okay.
Sure.
And call the public hearing to order, and it's discussion regarding dangerous building at 552 Emmons, and John Myers.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a property that has been eluding us for some time now. However, we did meet earlier this spring or this summer in regards to this property, and it was on the Dangerous Building Board previously with the permission by the Dangerous Building Board that they would grant them the right to renovate it. They did not comply with that. We put it back on the Dangerous Building Board, and we bring it to you tonight for the recommendation to demolition.
Okay. Are there any comments or objections to the demolition of this structure, 552 Emmons?
I guess I have one comment.
Any comments or objection to the demolition of this structure in the audience? Yes, ma'am.
We are going to demolish the home and the garage.
That is correct.
The resolution that follows, you're only called for a structure to be. So we need to
Identify,
either structures or house and garage when we actually have I just wanted to make sure the garage was going to. Thank
the
you.
garage is going.
It's all part of one. So is the owner of the property in the audience? Okay, at that point, then we will join the public hearing at 8:10 and reconvene the regular meeting. And the first action item is, whereas the Dangerous Building and Code Appeals Board issued an order to demolish the structure located at 552 Emmons, Lincoln Park, said order being issued subsequent to a hearing of the facts pertaining to this matter identified as DBB 19-12, 552 Emmons, which was held on August 22, 2019, in accordance with Section 1444.04 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Lincoln Park. Whereas the Dangerous Building and Code Appeals Board has filed a report of its findings and copy of its order with this council and with each party having a recorded interest in the subject property. And whereas the City Council has established the date of October 7, 2019, the date for a hearing to review the findings and order of said board, the owner of or party of interest having been given the opportunity to show cause why said structure should not be demolished, and the council having duly held such hearing. Now therefore be resolved that said order of the Dangerous Building and Code of Appeals Board to demolish and remove the structure located at 552 Emmons, Lincoln Park, Michigan, is hereby approved by the Council of the City of Lincoln Park. And be it further resolved that the Director of Public Works is hereby directed to comply with the order of the Board as approved by Council after 20 days from the date of this resolution. And be it further resolved that the Director of Public Works shall determine the date of demolition and shall notify each party of interest as required by Section 1444.10 of the Codified Ordinances. And be it further resolved that the cost of the demolition shall be assessed against the real property on which said structure is located. Such cost shall be reported to the city assessor, who shall place said lien.
So move.
Support
Discussion?
with the correction.
The correction.
Yeah.
Do you want it to say structures or house and garage?
Whichever, but either way, it'll cover them both. However you would like to do it, Madam Clerk. We'll probably should say house and garage.
We'll put house and garage, that way we cover it.
Yeah.
Okay, is that good with the supporter?
Absolutely.
Okay. Then clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins?
Yes.
Breeding?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Ross? Yes. Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item has a cover letter from our former city manager. And due to his resignation, it's necessary to appoint a new representative to the Don River Utility Wastewater Authority Board. The attached resolution will name John Zeck to serve in this capacity as prime representative until such time as a permanent city manager has been appointed. Further, this resolution appoints Lisa Griggs, Director of Finance and Operation, as the alternate representative in the absence of Mr. Zeck. So, whereas due to to the resignation of the city manager, it is necessary to appoint a City of Lincoln Park representative to the Downriver Utility Wastewater Authority Board. And whereas John Zeck will be the interim city manager for Lincoln Park until such time as a permanent manager is appointed. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city council appoint John Zeck, interim city manager, to serve as the primary representative for the city of Lincoln Park to the Downriver Utility Wastewater Authority Board. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city council appoint Lisa Griggs, Director of Finance and Operations, to serve as the alternate representative for the city of Lincoln Park to the Downriver Utility Wastewater Authority Board.
So move.
Support.
Discussion?
However.
Clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins?
Yes.
Breeding?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Whereas the mayor and council wish to allow the Board of Review to have alternate members in case of absence or conflict of interest. Now therefore be it resolved that an ordinance to amend the codified ordinances of the City of Lincoln Park by adding the following subsection C, alternate members, to Chapter 254, Section .01, Board of Review, be given its third and final reading and be adopted. The City of Lincoln Park ordains that the codified ordinances of the City of Lincoln Park be amended by adding a new subsection C, alternate members, to Chapter 254, Section .01 as follows. C, alternate members. The City Council may appoint not more than 2 alternate members to the Board of Review for the same term as the regular members. Each alternate member shall meet all of the same qualifications as a regular member. Alternate members shall be called to perform the duties of a regular member in the absence of any regular member or for the purpose of reaching a decision in issues protested in which a regular member has abstained or reason of conflict of interest.
So move.
Support.
I have a question, maybe Amy can help me out with. Since we have 2 alternate members, which one would be called in that circumstance?
Typically, what's going to happen in situations like this is there's usually a state law that governs the alternates, and it would tell us how to proceed on that.
Okay. Would you mind looking that up for me at some point? Further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Breeding?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item has a cover letter from John Myers, our building superintendent, and a setting fee schedule for the Board of Code Appeals. In recent months, a rental management company has filed several written appeals requesting to be heard in accordance with our appeals process. Our appeals process is taken from 2015 IPMC Section 111. The Dangerous Building Board has been appointed to serve as the Board of Code Appeals. However, there were no bylaws, application, nor fee schedule in place to comply with Section 111. The board met on September 4, 2019 at 7 p.m. and established bylaws, an application, and a recommended fee. So be it resolved that the mayor and city council amend the fee schedule authorizing the building department to add the fee of $250 for each residential code appeals application and $400 for each commercial code appeals application.
So move for discussion,
Support.
if I may.
Okay.
Be so.
Just have one question, Mr. Myers. Just interested if this is consistent with what other cities charge in our area?
It is. In fact, we're about, the state standard is 300 for single and two-family units and 500 for any other commercial or residential building.
Okay, Council President?
I just want to have another correction. If you could put user fee schedule, that's what the ordinance calls it. That's all.
Okay.
I just have one question.
Is that good for the mover for this amendment? Mover and supporter?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Will this fee, if they're coming before the board, does that fee cover everything there, or each individual thing they're asking to be approved, would they be a different fee for each individual thing?
It'll be a fee for each individual address. So if there is a complex of a 4-unit residential property, and they have a complaint on each of those units, it'll be a registration for each of those addresses.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Breeding?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item has a cover letter from our Community Planning and Development Parks and Recreation Director, Doreen Christian, and it's to award demolition bid for 1360 Monty, 1154 Cleveland, and 1775 Ford. And then the bids were open on September 25 at 10 a.m. Of the bidders, it's McMillan and Group with a total bid of $59,490. International Construction, a total bid of $67,605. Lyle Demolition at $72,250. Vincon Incorporated with a total bid of $77,120. Blue Star Incorporated, total bid $88,100, and SC Environmental Services with their total bid at $88,701. Whereas the Dangerous Building Board has conducted their investigation on 1775 Ford, 1154 Cleveland, and 1360 Monty, and have determined that these structures be demolished and the parties of interest have been notified. And whereas the mayor and council have held a public hearing regarding the demolition of these structures and no parties of interest appeared. And whereas the mayor and council have passed resolution to have these structures demolished after 20 days and the time period has elapsed. Therefore, be it resolved that McMillan Group Incorporated be awarded the bid for the demolition of the structures at 1360 Monty, 1154 Cleveland, and 1775 Ford, as they are the lowest bidder that meets all specifications. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute all necessary documents.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
Yes,
Yes.
Your Honor. Is it possible to have added to this the costs from the bid? You know, so that it includes the demolition not to exceed the $59,490? There's no bid total on this.
Doreen?
We can do that.
What did I do with it? I moved it over here.
I apologize. That was an oversight on my part to put not to exceed the 59,000. I will let mayor and council know
What the
that.
bid was, $59,490?
I have to look at the tally sheet.
Yeah.
59.
Yes, $59,490 for the
Okay,
total bid of.
Is there a contingency on top of that they're charged or anything, or is it just?
I don't do the contingency on top of it. When I do the payment, I hold fundings. It's in the contract per house until, like a retainage on it, so I don't pay the full amount out in the beginning. It's in the contract that you and the clerk will sign.
Okay. Councilman Kelsey and Higgins, are you
don't
good
have a
with the
problem.
addition of that?
I'm good.
To
Good
the-
with that.
Okay.
One question, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Has McMillan worked for the city before?
Yes, we have done work with most of these companies before, but we did have them, they did 3 houses before for us, not a single problem with any of it. We had one area that sunk a little bit. They were out the next spring immediately, as soon as they could, and finished it up and made it perfect for us. We only made one phone call and they were there.
Nice.
Further discussion?
Thank you.
All right, clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Breeding?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Ross? Yes. Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item has a cover letter from our Chief of Police, Raymond Waters, to purchase 3 new Panasonic Toughbook computers and to waive the bid as CDWG is a My Deal participant who provided a state bid quote. Total cost for all 3 computers is $11,868.03, which includes shipping, and will be paid for, which will be covered in the resolution. So, whereas the Lincoln Park Police Department is requesting to purchase 3 new Panasonic Toughbook computers to be used in new patrol vehicles, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize the Lincoln Park Police Department to waive the bidding process and purchase 3 new Panasonic Toughbook computers from CDW-G for a total cost of $11,868.03 under the My Deal contract. Be it further resolved, funds to purchase the Panasonic Toughbook computers to come from the Police Department's computer equipment account 101-305-820 and be reimbursed by the Police Department's JAG grant.
So move.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Breeding,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. All right. Whereas the hearing board on dangerous buildings has made a finding and determination that the structure located at 679 Mayflower, Lincoln Park, case number DBB19-10 is a dangerous building under ordinance 1444 and issued its order that the structure be demolished immediately. Whereas pursuant to Chapter 1444 of the Lincoln Park Municipal Code, the Hearing Board on Dangerous Buildings has filed a report of its findings and a copy of its order with the council and has requested the council to take necessary action to demolish the structure. Whereas the owner and/or parties of interest have neglected to comply with said order and the subject structure has not been made safe or demolished. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Sections 1444.08 of the Lincoln Park Municipal Code, the council hereby establishes the date of October 21, 2019 at 7:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the ordinary order of council business shall permit, as the date and time for a hearing to review the finding and order of said hearing board, at which hearings the owners or parties of interest shall be given the opportunity to show cause why the building should not be demolished. The building superintendent is directed to give notice, as required by ordinance, to the owner or parties of interest of such hearing date.
So move.
Support.
Discussion? Mr. Myers?
Mayor and council, if I can interrupt for a moment on this subject. This has been a battle finding the owner. I found him. We've discussed it, an elderly gentleman. He has an insurance escrow in our account to demolish this. We could not get him to get it done in a reasonable and a timely manner. So we brought it to you in this request. However, between the time we submitted that request and today, I've spoken with his son, and there is in my hand today a contract with the family to have the building taken down without going through your request and just go directly through the dangerous building and the private ownership, and they will take it down with their escrow account if you'd remove it from the system.
Would save me a whole lot of reading a couple seconds ago.
I didn't know when to interrupt you, Mayor.
Through the chair, are you still?
Yes, sir.
How soon will it be demolished, John? Do you have a date?
Yeah, if we do it this week, we have till the 21st, and we have 20 days. I talked to the contractor this afternoon myself before the day was over, and as soon as all the utilities are down and disconnected, they will begin. So I'm assuming before those 20 days and our next hearing on the 21st, it should be gone. The house will come down, we'll remove everything other than the garage.
So are you recommending that we continue on?
No, I'm recommending you dismiss this and let this company and the family take the escrow and remove the property before we get to it by the city. I'm asking you to remove it from,
And Amy, the proper way to do that would be?
Who was your mover?
Mr. Higgins,
That you would withdraw your motion, and who was your supporter?
Mr. Parkinson.
Did you withdraw your support?
If there's a time limit set, yeah.
Is that what you carried?
Because then we'll start over again.
Yeah, through the chair, definitely, If I may, because I was told this was going to be torn down in the spring, right? And now we're going to delay. Are you saying this will be torn down before the 21st, before we had that meeting?
I'm saying I have the written contract signed by the family and the contractor in my hand as of tonight. So the speed of which it can come down will be as quickly as it possibly could, because we can begin to make sure the utilities are disconnected, and we will not have to wait for a public hearing on the 21, and we won't have to wait for 20 days after that to put out a bid for us to take it down.
Through the chair,
Yes, sir.
I think this would be for Ms. Higgins. If we went ahead and voted for this and they tear it down before that meeting, does this affect us in any way?
Well, at this time, Mr. Myers, have all the notices been sent out for the meeting on the 21st?
Yes.
That's all been done?
I haven't sent them to her, but I've sent the letters that go to the owners and the property holders.
All right, then one of your options is to stay the course. You had moved,
Correct.
you had supported, and you could keep it in place and see, we'll know what's going to happen fairly soon. And then if it doesn't happen, as is indicated at this time, then we can go forward if something goes awry.
In that case, I would prefer to stay the course.
Yeah, I recommend that also.
Yeah, that would set the time limit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there further discussion? Then clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Breeding,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Do this one and then do the boiler. Do the boiler. So the one item that was removed from the consent agenda has to do with, has a cover letter from John Kazoo, Director of Department of Public Services. And the Van Shell boiler has been tagged out by the state of Michigan and must be replaced. And to proceed and allow the Department of Public Services to solicit bid for the Van Shell boiler because it's been tagged out by the state. All right, so resolved that the mayor and city council hereby authorize the DPS to solicit bids for a new boiler for the Van Shell.
So move for discussion.
Support.
Support.
My one question was, couldn't we actually go out, when we're going out for bids, get a bid for forced air furnace? There are many sections of the building, including the Parks and Recreation actual office, they get no heat, even with the boiler. They get no heat whatsoever. The hallway that goes between the front office back to the seniors, there is no heat in that section. So even when the boiler was working, it didn't provide heat in that to these sections. So many of the sections are very cold, even when it's the furnace, when the boiler's on. So if they're going to solicit bids for a boiler, couldn't they solicit for forced air just to see what the drastic difference it would be?
I don't know.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. One of the items that I had asked for was to put it out for bid, but simultaneously, we are looking at, is there a vent system so that could also take place? And with asking to go out for bid, what I'm actually requesting is whether it's going to be a forced air system or a boiler system. We have to look and see if we have the piping network for a forced air system, the vent pipes, so that if we could turn it into a forced air system, it would be best for the city to go a forced air system rather than a boiler system. I think that the answer may be yes, but we haven't done our 100% due diligence to see if the vent system is in the building so that we could do that, rather than having to install the vent system to allow that process.
Okay, I was just,
Well, we're going to be, so the building doesn't have heat now, is that?
Well, actually, that building has 3 boilers in it. One has been tagged out by the state.
I wasn't
Correct.
familiar with the circumstances in there. So what is the turnaround you think for this?
I'm hoping to have knowledge of whether or not we can go forced air within the next 4 to 5 days. But either way, something needs to take place, whether it's we're able to do forced air or we have to go back to the boiler.
So we can change this to say heating system rather than just the word boiler, and then he can do whatever he needs?
No, I would argue that we keep it at boiler right now, because we're going to, I think we can amend that at a later time, can't we? If that's,
That would be up to this group.
well, I don't want to get into January and then not have adequate heat for the
We
building.
can't wait, in my opinion, we cannot wait that long. We're going to have to go A or B. But we have to get something in place.
Question, I'm
So
sorry.
the only option, in my mind, would be to wait and do this until we know fully what we're going to do at the October 21st meeting to go out.
What about authorization to proceed with A or B, so that either way, the facility has heat? But I don't know whether or not forced air will work at this point in time.
And who would make that determination?
I'm going to go back to the HVAC company that the city has been working with and utilizing since I've been here for the last 10 years.
Because when you have, I'm just thinking that there's a cost of one boiler, but if you go to a HVAC system, that may necessitate the replacement of the other two boilers that are in there, and you're looking to choose just to,
We don't know that yet, but that's one of the things that we've
that has to be
kept in mind.
for that. Okay, and how do you recommend the ordinance proceeding or the resolution proceeding?
I guess at this point in time, I would ask legal counsel, could going out to bid for boiler system or forced air suffice in this case?
Mr. Kazoo, at this time, you're just wanting bids, correct?
That is correct.
That's all you're getting at this time?
Yes.
So I suppose you could edit your language to say to solicit bids for a new boiler and/or heating system dependent upon the completion of investigation.
As long as the supporter and the second,
I have a further question.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I'd like to know, with those bids, I'd also like to know cost of using the boiler against using forced heat in that building, because to me, I believe there would be a considerable cost difference going forward and than paying for the heat of that building. And I would like that, some kind of numbers before, when you bring that back.
we can do that. Because at this point in time, as it's already been mentioned, there's no cost to putting it out for bid. And part of what I'm looking at is if we went to a forced air system, if there's no ventilation system to put the heat through, that would have to be inclusive in the forced air bid process. If not, then we would probably want to stay with the boiler system.
Okay, what, my question wasn't about necessarily the heating system itself, but the cost of heating the building further down. A boiler system for bigger buildings is generally considered a cheaper way of heating a building.
Talking about the utility costs, I think,
Yes, I'm
right?
talking about utility costs.
I can ask that of our HVAC contractor.
And I would think that when you get that information, you're going to sit down with the city manager and work out for the recommendation of which way it's going to be put out.
And I would even ask the chief building official to weigh in on that also.
So in all likelihood, come the 21st, we can have an update on this, right?
Yes.
All right, so are we going to proceed with the resolution as amended? Is that good with the mover and supporter? Okay.
I got
Any
a
further? Yes, sir. Go
question for discussion. I mean, it might be mute, but since the boiler never heated that section, if we go to a boiler, make sure, I mean, we're gonna have the same problem with a brand-new boiler. I'd like, when you're doing that, I guess, kind of figure out if we have to go to a boiler, it's gonna actually work for that. I mean, why it didn't work originally, which is mute if we go to a HVAC system. But I mean, if the boiler was in there and there's 3 of them and it never got heat, then there's something wrong someplace. I mean, it's not just with the boiler, it's something else. Anyways, just a point, that's all.
Yeah, we're opening up
Yeah.
quite a can of worms.
Right,
with-
that's what I was
with
getting at.
this,
Thank
as
you.
far as, and then
That's it.
come 2021, we'll have heat in that building.
Yeah. We gotta be putting that-
Anyway, so as amended, not amended, or as amended, mover and supporter is good for that. Is there further discussion as we go? All right, clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilpersons Breeding.
Yes.
Parkinson.
Yes.
Higgins.
Yes.
Kelsey.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. And the last item, whereas the Lincoln Park Police Command Officers Association, LPPCOA, have entered into negotiations with the city, whereas an amicable settlement of the contract issues have been arrived at, and now therefore be resolved that the mayor and city council, after review of the proposed tentative agreement between the Lincoln Park Police Command Officers Association, LPPCOA, recommend the approval of the agreement. And I'll move on this.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mayor Carnes.
Yes.
Councilpersons Breeding.
Yes.
Higgins.
Yes.
Kelsey.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
And Parkinson.
Yes.
Okay, now we go to the accounts and claims payable. I'm sorry. Resolved that the accounts and claims payable for those items greater than $25,000 be approved as followed. These first 3 items have been check released for due date. So you have Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, September 2019 retiree Medicare SB actives, $163,374.86. Blue Cross Blue Shield, September 2019 retiree non-Medicare, $36,315.66. BB&T Governmental Finance, 2019 road bond interest payment, $65,790.28. District Court, October 2019, $49,255.17. Downriver Utility Wastewater Authority, September 2019 excess flow charges, $103,993. GV Cement Contracting, 2019 concrete reconstruction, $234,218.13. GFL Environmental, October 2019 residential curbside collection, $117,235.54. Great Lakes Water Authority, August 2019 water billing, $198,805.26. Hutch Paving, 2019 road bond asphalt resurfacing program, $221,999.77. McKenna Associates, August 2019 Building Department Services Permits, $76,347. MERS, August 2019 Defined Benefit, $201,566.12. City of Riverview, July 2019 Dumping Service, $28,005.39.
I'll move.
I'll support.
Okay. Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross.
Yes.
Higgins.
Yes.
Breeding.
Yes.
Kelsey.
Yes.
Parkinson.
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. We have the interim city manager's report. Ms. Griggs reports that I took her thunder with the recycling, so she has nothing further to add now, but we'll open it up to council questions for her, if there are any.
I got a question through the,
Yep.
how are we doing on the dog pound? Last time we heard there was a discussion about the plans when Matt was here, but I never heard no more, and we're getting into the winter. Are we progressing? Is there a solution to the plans? Is there a hold on the plan? I guess what I want to find out is, when's the target date to get the section, the second section of the animal shelter done?
I don't have a clear answer for that. Maybe John Zek, maybe Matt
Okay.
updated him on that, but we didn't discuss it before he left. But I'll look into it and make sure, see if John has the information.
All right.
Through the chair,
If you could give us something,
Yep.
all of us. Yes, sir.
I asked Human Resources Director for an eligibility list for the Municipal Service Department,
Okay.
because John is very short, he says they have none. So I think they should go up for a test for eligibility employees to be hired from the Service Department. In the Building Department, for a long time, I've asked, and last time it was discussed, it would save us at least $200,000 a year to bring the Building Department back in under city realm, instead of having a contractor. So I would like to see John put something together for us, so it's winter time, things are fairly slow. I think now's the best time to build a department if you want to build one.
You're referring to John Zek or John
Myers,
Myers? Okay. We have a lot of
the
Johns.
building official.
I have a question to the chair
Yes,
as well.
go ahead.
I've had a lot of citizens ask me about the stoplight at the turnaround just past Champaign on Fort Street. It hasn't operated in from some time now, and I'd just like an update on why it's not, and what can I tell the citizens? I've asked a couple of
But
times.
it's the red light is burned out, I would imagine. Chief, if you could notify Wayne County Signal or have it done for tomorrow. I noticed that this morning, but yeah. And the light at Emmons and Fort Street, if you're traveling southbound, one has got hit and is cockeyed. So if you wouldn't mind doing that one also, have it done, Chief, thank you. I'm sorry, do you have more?
Nope, that's it, thank you.
Okay, anything further? Thank you. We'll now move into our department head report, and it's CDBG, Parks and Recreation Director. Doreen, Christian?
Well, with the CAPER, you learned everything we did through June 30th of this year. Right now, what we're working on is the renovation of 1534 Wilson, which you had voted on earlier. It's moving along very quickly. So hopefully we will have that finished, with fingers crossed, and up for sale in November. That's how quick they're moving on it. The job that was done on 883 Monte, we have a pending sale. I'm waiting on closing. It was a little bit less than what we expected, but it's a lot more than we expected in the long run in the way of financing. It has appraised, and we're just waiting for her final financing to go through. So we'll be closing on that with fingers crossed very shortly. With the demolitions that we just passed today, we already put in for the state. They are hoping to be able to start the asbestos removal by October 15th. And immediately following, start the demolition, 1, 2, 3. She wants it done by November 1st. So keep your fingers crossed that they move as quickly as they said they will. They did the last time they did the work for us. See, we did the annual action plan. It's been approved for 1920 finally. We have the funding agreement, and it has, and the release of funds. The only thing we're waiting on right now is we're compiling the environmental, and we can start spending money, which I want to do very quickly because I got to get that 1.5% done by May 1st. So hopefully we get our environmentals done really quick. Quant Park ball field lights, they're going up as we speak. The permits have been pulled. They're working on the front ball field right now. They'll be working on the back one later. We just checked on that. Dennis checked on that today. Community Center, the dehumidifiers and the rooftop units have been installed, so we are no longer renting a dehumidifier for the building. And all the exterior lighting has been replaced with LED, so if you see the glow in the air, that's our community center. And we also have locker room lighting done in C&D. It's with LED lighting as well. And that's all I have to report for right now, unless you have any questions.
Hearing none, thank you for all your all your hard work. Stay through citizen communications so in case somebody has a question, and then we will now open it up for citizen communications.
My name is Adu Shane, and I live in Lincoln Park. And back in August, after hearing a council member complain about the state giving less taxpayers money to the cities, a citizen did some research. In 1 year, Lincoln Park got cut back from the state over $1 million, and over the years, over $5 million, starting in 2007. What brought this to mind was the legislature in Lansing took $400 million out of the general fund to use for the road repair. What a disgrace. They didn't want to raise the gas tax. Drivers who use the roads should pay to repair them. That $400 million should go back to the cities so that we can fix our potholes and hire more people, etc., etc., etc. On TV was a news report record. People spent over $90 million to see a buffoon in the movies last weekend. The politicians are reluctant in Lansing to raise the gas tax. What a shame. I don't know how they get to keep their jobs. And I was a little disappointed that the audience couldn't ask the lady from Detroit Edison some questions. They might have had some personal things happen to them. I know I did. And the library is having their book sale this week. So come on down. I saw the mayor buying some books, so you can too. And bring your scrap paper to the bins on Cleophas behind the library. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Richard Kudrak. The residents were not told the $20 million bond would cost $27 million with $7 million interest added. The residents were not told the $61 million school bond would cost $104 million with $43 million interest added. The residents were told that they would all pay for recycling, even if they were never going to recycle. The salary for the next city manager was discussed at $125,000. This salary was established at $80,000 before the emergency manager approved $125,000. $125,000 should not be the salary for the next city manager. A Detroit News editorial stated Lincoln Park is the worst city in the state for municipal employee pension funding. The article stated it was 27% funded with an $88 million unfunded liability. I sent the city the following Freedom of Information Act request. Kindly advise the percent funded and unfunded liability for the police and fire pension system. The 49-page document I received in response did not answer the question asked. In a previous city council meeting, I asked where the Criminal Justice Center would be built. The answer was downtown. I sent the city the following Freedom of Information Act request. Kindly advise the precise downtown location for the proposed Criminal Justice Center. This FOIA request was never answered. It is believed the Criminal Justice Center will be built next to or on the same site as the Park Restaurant. This cost was previously discussed as $23 million, with $7 million interest added for a total of $30 million. I question why any city would consider asking the residents for $30 million while refusing to disclose the location of the building. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Clifford Eberts. Just a question. A while back, I told Matt Koppler about the trees in front of my house at 2120 Charter Street off Dixon Outer Drive. Then I got a call from Julie over at Pride, and she said that the trees didn't need to come down because they weren't that bad. So they sent some people out there to trim the trees. Well, obviously that didn't bear any fruit because they're still dropping dead branches on the street, on the sidewalk, in my front yard, hit a couple of my neighbors' cars, and at the same time, now they're starting to push up the street, and I'm getting a little frustrated with it because I'd like to eventually replace my sidewalks and the approachway up to my porch and my driveway with new cement, but I don't want to do it until I get this issue resolved and fixed. And I'm just wondering, am I now going to have a private company come out and get rid of these city trees because now they're becoming a nuisance? And if I do, am I going to have to send a bill to somebody, or are they just going to get them out and tear them down so I can fix it and make it look nice for the city? Because the rainwater's collecting, the street water's getting under there, winter's coming, if it freezes, I don't want to see ice forming and freezing and then, can't get out of my driveway or nothing. Getting frustrated. These maples are too close to one another. There's 4 of them. They need to go. So if anybody's got any solutions that can help come over and look at them, I'm open. Thanks.
Good evening, Chris Tarzinski. Well, Saturday's the big day. The next Hands of the City event, Rocktober. The 70s cover band, Channel Cats, at the Moose Lodge. That's 1600 4th Street, and starts at 8 p.m., goes to 1 a.m. $5 at the door, general admission, $4 if you're wearing a costume, and $3 if you are a lodge member. The next Hands of the City planning meeting is Sunday, October 20th, 5 p.m. at the VFW, Post 552, 1125 4th Street. And it's going to be a big meeting. We're going to ramp up for the Downriver Book Fair, the Lincoln Penny Drop New Year's Eve event with the Detroit Rock City KISS cover band at the Moose Lodge, and we have to discuss the all-day jam, the parade, wow, a lot of stuff. The car show that we want to bring to Cruising Downriver Saturday next year at the VFW and in that area, so please show up. Again, that is Sunday, October 20th, 5 p.m. at the VFW Post 552. The Crossroads Revival went okay. As always, for a first-year event, I want 3 times as many people as what showed up. Thank you to everybody that helped. Thank you, Councilman Higgins, for helping out. Thank you, Carlos Salcido, for the raffle basket. I challenge 100 residents in Lincoln Park to put together a raffle basket as nice as Carlos Salcido for the all-day jam. Seriously, so it was a beautiful raffle basket, and I appreciate it. Thank you to Lillian Ross and her family for helping break down, and thank you for being a little sister and asking me, hey, do you want us to get you home safely? Because it's after dark and I have glaucoma. So nobody knows those little things. Just it was nice of her family to drive my van home so that I did things properly. I was going to talk about Public Act 51 a little bit. Just don't know where we stand on that. It's a tremendously old funding mechanism. And with the population shifts and everything, the Northern Peninsula, Upper Peninsula is obviously overfunded. I don't know why that funding mechanism is still around. I think seriously that municipalities and county governments need to get involved in that. I have a few ideas. I'll send you some emails on how we can maybe take a lead on this as a municipality and get other municipalities to involved. I talked a little bit with the DCC. I'll talk with them some more. But Public Act 51 is, I would rip it out and go to something completely different, to tell you the truth. Oh, see, I didn't bring my notes tonight. That's enough. We'll talk about the rest in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Sean Stansberry. Since we're talking about recycling, that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight, so let's talk about that. About 2 weeks after the mayor and council approved recycling, the city of Westland canceled the contract for GFL for recycling. The article stated the cost rose so much they had to terminate the program. This is the same company the city uses for garbage collection. What is it going to take for the city to see this is going to fail and should have never been pushed by the mayor and some council? I've stated the facts throughout the whole process, but we picked this pipe dream to chase, and that's what it is. Most seniors didn't want it, and so did a lot of the other residents. So now the residents that don't want it are forced to pay for this extra fee on their water and sewage bill. I want to know where the oversight's going to be for GFL if they don't dump at a recycling center every time. So, I mean, is there anybody that we have for the city that's going to follow up on that, or what are we doing with that?
Well, the same would be under city management, so I would expect the city manager to keep them to.
Okay, so October 21st, when they start to come pick up, is someone going to make sure that day that they're going to go and it's going to be going every time to the recycling center and not a landfill?
You mean follow the trucks?
Well, I mean, there's got to be oversight. What do you do to find out? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you. You're the one that pushed this program. I thought you would know.
We will make sure it goes to the right place, sir.
Okay. Well, just like Ronald Reagan said, you got to trust but verify. And that's what we need to do to make sure that these people are doing the right thing. Because I don't think they're gonna. So, this is a 4-year contract we entered into, so I hope that we hold GFL to the terms of the contract. I hope the oversight we do holds them to the terms, and we make sure that every time it's being done like that. If at any time it goes to the landfill instead of the recycling center, the city needs to opt out under that clause right then and there. And that was discussed with Matt, with the mayor, and everybody else. So, you know, and also too, I want to say thanks again to everybody up here that raised my water and sewage bill. Okay, for something that's a lie in my opinion, and I feel that GFL is trying to profit more off Lincoln Park. And there's a lot of other people that feel that way. I know we wanted to silence them before. I know everybody thinks, oh, this Sean guy, he's trying to, you know, sabotage this. I tried to do the research. I talked to everybody, and I want to know when the nonsense is going to stop in the city with stuff like that. So that's all I have. If anybody's got any comments for me, I'm here to take them or hear from you guys.
Are you all set, sir?
Yeah, that's it. If you got any comments to me, I'll stand here and, you know, other than that, I mean, I'm just looking at you, I'm saying something, and everybody's just looking at me, and it's just gonna be ignored. That's how I feel. It's just going through the motions, you know,
Through the chair.
so.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'm done then.
Very good.
All right.
Next, please. Seeing no one else approaching, we will move on to oral reports of the council. Council President Breeding.
As the pastor mentioned earlier, former council president Tom Murphy. Tom has had 3 strokes, but he's recuperated from them. In the beginning, he had a few physical problems or whatever, but he's doing fine. But he is also going to be going underneath a type of a surgery leader, and so I just want you to keep him in your prayers. Tom gave a lot of years to the city, a good guy or whatever, so just keep him in your prayers if you would. And also the fire chief's father, his name is Ted Martin. Now, he's not a Lincoln Parker, but he's gone through a bone marrow transplant and all kinds of things, and so it's septus. It has nothing to do with the bone marrow. That was successful, but now he has septus, and so it's very bad. So that's all the sad news. Kroger's is having that flu clinic, and I mentioned it once before, October the 16th, from 9 a.m. to noon at the band shell. You have to take your ID and your insurance card, but that's open to everyone. Kroger Flu Clinic, Wednesday, October the 16th, down at the band shell. And then I was asked to read, our senior clubs are looking for members, age 55 and up. Club meets Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to play cards, bingo, and etc. You can come in one day or all 4 days. Joining is free. If you're interested or know someone who might be, come check out the clubs at the Senior Center at 3250 Ferris, which is part of the band shell, attached to the band shell. If you don't have any transportation, our senior bus, which is wheelchair accessible, will pick you up free of charge. You can call our Parks and Recreation Department at 1817 to arrange transportation. And the 4 clubs have really dwindled, so they're looking for a few senior citizens. And I think that's, also the Lincoln Manor that we all went to, it's a beautiful place. I mean, you would not recognize it if you went inside or whatever. It was very fancy and very nice, and the food was delicious. And so I understand from someone that was there, they supposedly all their rentals, they're already booked for a year. So hopefully they'll be successful because they have put a lot of money and time and effort into this establishment. And it would be good to have another place where you could have wedding receptions or baby showers or whatever, or big graduation parties, because the rooms are very big. But it was very nice, and I'm very pleased that we were invited to attend. Okay, now I'm done.
Councilman Salcido.
Thank you. Good evening, citizens. Just spin off on Councilwoman Breeden. A very elegant place if you're planning a graduation or a wedding or any kind of event. That's going to compete with Crystal Gardens. I believe is very nice. Also, the middle school this past week, they had the fitness center opening. Don't Quit. It was the first time I've been in the junior high, but it was a great event. Debbie Dingle was there. She spoke, and the kids were all pumped up, and it was a great experience. Also, don't wait for your car battery to die. Motor City Battery Company right here on Dix, I believe, off of Stewart, they're offering a free battery and charging checkup system. So just so you know, my battery died last Tuesday, and they took care of it. And free battery checkup. Check it out, Motor City Battery. Thank you very much.
Councilwoman Ross.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to start by correcting the date for this year's last Wayne County hazardous waste collection date. That should be October 19th. It's still at the Wayne County Community College in Taylor, and it is from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that is October the 19th. That's a correction. Don't forget Mixter Schools Market Fridays, and they're open from 9:30 to 2:15. And then I want to say thank you to all the residents who showed up yesterday for the Firehouse Open House. That was really a very nice family-oriented event. So thank you to our fire department for always putting that on for us. I think that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Higgins.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to remind everybody again about Rocktober. The Hands of the City is putting on the event at the Lincoln Park Moose on Saturday. Channel Cats will be playing. The band goes on at 7 o'clock, and it's only $5 to get in. Another event brought to you by Hands of the City. And the whole idea of the Hands of the City is we put these events on hoping to show off our city and what we have here, and more people come, have a good time. Keeping that in mind, I would like to thank everybody who had anything to do with the Zombie Walk this year. A great event. A lot of kids were there. The mayor did a wonderful job with his story time, along with his buddy, Uncle Death, was it? It was great.
Uncle Dead Guy.
Uncle Dead Guy. On the other event, the fire open house was wonderful, and it combined with the farmers market at the same near location. Really nice. I'd like to thank everybody who helped out in the farmers market this time. And also the big event at the middle school with the opening the fitness center. Speaking as a guy who has been a coach for a long time in the city, this is something that was really needed, and it's also something that the kids can really use, and very, very nice for our city to have. The Lincoln Manor, which everybody's talked about, I could tell you I've been to many events at that particular building, and I walked in and I would not have been able to tell you it was the same building. They very fancied it up, as they say. And I welcome something like that to our city this company has come and we keep talking about we want nice things in our city. Well, these people are giving us something nice. So it's nice to have them here and I welcome them. And I guess that's all for this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Councilman Kelsey?
Well, I won't go over all the same events because I was at most of those, and I will say the free donut at the farmer's market was pretty good. I will say that. They had quite a few left. I got a flyer from Beaumont Children's Hospital. They're doing a Beaumont Student Heart Check. It's at Fortson High School, December the 14th from 9 to 4 p.m., and that's 13800 Ford Road, Dearborn, Michigan. They're doing free heart checks for teens aged 13 to 18 are eligible for the screening. They do a medical history evaluation, blood pressure check, physical examination, electrocardiogram, or ECG. And that's these checkups are typically not included when they do routine physical checkups for sports, so it's kind of nice. It's free. Beaumont's putting it on. If you want to register, you can register at beaumont.org/SHAs. SHC. So that's beaumont.org/SHC. So if somebody's got a child and they figure they don't want to get something done, it's free. Beaumont's putting it on, the Children's Hospital, and it'd be very nice if you want to go in December. The last item I got is through the chair is how do I put something on for the closed door for labor negotiations? Do I need a second for that, or do I need to, so we can have a meeting? I didn't quite finish when we were doing something in there, so. Plus, I have some other questions that it would probably be closed door, so how would I do that? I guess, just asking.
We need to make sure that what you're asking for is pertinent to closed doors.
How do we do that then?
I would say that, we can, if you want to go into, say it's going to be labor negotiations, we can schedule, do we have anything for the 21st at 6:30?
Yes.
Yes.
Parks maintenance.
Yeah, Park Study Group, yeah.
Okay, well, I don't want to do double it. Can this wait until the first meeting in
Oh,
November?
yeah, it's not going to go anywhere, no.
Okay.
No, it's not going to go anywhere.
That's the day before Election Day.
Oh, Carrie.
What would be before that?
Who are you, Carrie?
Par for the course.
beat up.
No mercy on the clerk. I get it.
That's right, it's me.
I think that we could do that in a resolution to have the meeting on the 4th at 6:30.
That's fine.
That's your resolution?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
That's all I have.
We'll give our clerk a little time to catch up.
Special meeting to go into closed.
But also,
Labor negotiations.
reach out to the city manager, make sure that those things are pertinent.
Sure, I can send her a copy tomorrow.
Okay.
That's
Who
fine.
was the supporter on that? I'm sorry.
I think it was Gargles. Oh, Mike, sorry. Call the roll, please, yes.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Breeding,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes.
The chair, that was 6:30, right?
Yes.
Okay,
6:30.
thank you.
So then we'll, you're all set, sir?
Yeah, yes, sir. All right, I'm all set.
Councilman Parkinson.
Yeah, thank you, Honor. The two things I want to talk about, I spoke to the city manager about the eligibility list. Lost my notes. Also, I'd like to bring us up on the animal shelter. Everybody's advertising about the animals that they have. I think maybe we should put something on TV here at the city channel about the animals that are nice animals for adoption. That's all I have tonight.
Thanks, sir. Want to say thanks to Amy and Lisa for being in the limelight up here tonight, helping us out. When I was at the high school last week, I ran into a young man that was learning how to walk because he had recently lost his sight. And it turns out that this young man who had suffered with cystic fibrosis had come into the police department some 16 years ago and was chief of police for the day with me back then. So he had the whole day, even had lunch at the park restaurant and such. This young man underwent a double lung transplant in order to facilitate his breathing needs, obviously, because of an infection in his lungs. And unfortunately, the infections in the lungs went to his eyes and caused his eyes to be removed, and he's lost his sight. You would think that this person has every right to be mad at the world with that, but that is farthest from the point when I was talking to him at that time. A lot of what his medical bills were covered due to his insurance, but as fate would have it, the thing that isn't covered is the cost of the donor lungs coming to him, and that is some $60,000. So to combat that, the friends of this young man, whose name is Brett Bowman, is having a fundraiser for him at the Parkway Lanes on November 16th. I believe it starts at 8 p.m., but I'll put the flyer up if anybody is interested in that. Just a very brave young man, especially with everything that he is going through for that. And lastly, I'm a firm believer in recycling, still believe in recycling. I think it's the right thing to do, and I'm glad we're finally getting there. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Support.
Clerk, call the roll.
Councilperson Salcido?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Reading? Kelsey?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes?
Yes. Hey, Chris?
Thought he was there.